3, 2, 1. Here we are. Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. We're back at it with English B again. Tone and mood in poetry. Last time, a few days ago, we tackled 8 poems looking at tone and mood. We have 12 poems left. We'll do a shorter session today and hopefully we can get even more done. So on the stream, we have AAA again. Welcome, AAA. Thanks for coming back.
Hello.
And we have a new face with a name that says G.
G, yes.
Yeah, G. Do you want to do a quick intro?
Good evening, everyone. I am Gloria. I just call myself G, and I am a teacher of English A, English B, and Communication Studies at one of the top schools in Barbados. And we have about 20-something top schools, and I'm at one of them. So I want to say good evening to everyone, and I hope that this evening is fruitful, and I'm sure it will be. Yes.
Thank you. Very well. So we have top teachers from top schools. That's how we do it. Top teachers from top schools. We have 5 persons on the live already, but we're gonna get started. We're not gonna wait because we will not be here for all of 2 hours like last time. So we go ahead with test match Sabina Park. We're looking at tone and mood. Any ideas from the 4 of yours in the chat? Let us know. Type away. Let's see what your thoughts are. Test match Sabina Park. You can also take a look at the poem here on the stream. Test match Stuart Brown. What are we seeing? What tone are we seeing? Tone, mood, what attitude, what emotion, what feeling? Okay, the chat is slow, so we'll have to start them off from the studio. Okay, someone says mood is exciting. Keshalia, back from last time. Yeah, returning resident. Thank you for showing up again. Exciting? What is exciting about this? What gets you excited about this poem? If you remember, we are supporting our answers with brief explanations. Exciting, what diction, what actions, what gives you that excitement? I'm wondering if you're getting the excitement from the cussing out that's happening in the middle of the poem. Could be.
Yes.
What about the teachers here in the studio? How do we feel reading this poem?
In terms of mood?
Yeah.
It is there's an upbeat mood. There's a sense of excitement as well. I guess when you see him proudly strutting through there's this excitement, and so I agree with it. There's an upbeat kind of mood at the beginning. Yes. There's I would
Keshalia coming in with her explanation. I think it's exciting because of how we see the speaker argue with the other individual about how they're playing a boring game. I find the argument quite exciting.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, that's a good defense. So the argument between the West Indian and the white man, or the West Indians and the white man, you find that to be exciting.
Yeah.
So on the surface, we see the excitement, but getting into what the argument is like, what they're saying, are there any beneath the surface moods that come up? Because they're tackling things like identity, race. It's not just an exciting poem, but
but at the beginning, it's a little upbeat, but then the mood changes, and you begin to see that condescension. You begin to see there's a mocking, comical kind of mood that comes out, as you go through, because remember, there's some mood, I would call it mood swings, mood changes throughout the poem. So there's a movement. So the second mood for me would be that one where there is some kind of, it is comical, as I said, and we also see that condescension, that mocking, that rowdy kind of mood coming over, at the in the middle of the poem. And then when we go
Yeah.
to the end, you get this feeling of dejection, etc. So I don't know if Triple A wants to say anything about that mood, and then we can move into the tone after that. Yeah.
I see the moods that you're speaking about. I was more looking at the tone, but since we're still speaking about mood, um, hmm, hmm. In terms of tone, for me, I'll tell you what struck me first. I got a sense of, patriotism and pride coming from the writer or the persona in the poem. So that's what I'm seeing at. But that pride and that patriotism later, as you mentioned, just like there are mood swings, there are tone swings. And in the tone swing, becomes a little angry. And I found that anger is a strong word to use there. So anybody could suggest a better word than anger for the
Oh,
tone that the writer
angry.
is feeling
What
towards the
stanza are we
middle.
looking at
When
for
when
anger?
we reached into the part where we had a little cuss out, so to speak, that's what you were calling mocking mood,
Yeah.
right? The kind of
More like embarrassing.
yes, yes,
It's more like
Embarrassment could be
it's
yes.
a
more
word there.
embarrassment. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you said that there is pride, but is that really, this pride, is it really patriotism, or is he just being haughty? Is he is because I
Arrogance.
mean, I probably wearing the rosette of my skin, I struck into Sabina.
Hmm.
So is that really patriotism, or is he being, I would say, uh that
Arrogant.
is arrogance?
Okay.
Do you see that? Yeah.
Well, they have to
Yeah.
have
There's
some
some
level of
patriotism, yes, but
pride.
Yeah, it's a superiority
Arrogance is
complex.
pride gone wild.
yes.
Yeah. I see G. He feels so superior to,
Yes.
the West Indians, and he takes so much pride in his whiteness. Like it is
Yeah.
what sets him apart, sets him above.
Yeah.
Strutting is such a pompous way to walk.
Yes.
Strutting in proud, like I
Hmm.
picture the peacock with the
Oh
tail
yes.
up in the air,
Yeah.
strutting in. But whereas he patriotism might be in the kind of caustic, angry tone of the West
Mm-hmm.
Indians. I think it's
Yeah.
like they're defending not just themselves, but they're defending their region. Like you come in
Yeah.
here acting as if you're all
Yeah.
that. Let me tell you about us. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's like they're reacting to his superiority that he comes with. So it gets a little complex looking at the racial undertones
Yes.
as well. Keshalia says there's a lot of mockery also
Yeah.
because we see how the white people are always on top because of their skin color. But when it comes to cricket and technique, the black team is on top. So where does the mockery fit into this? I guess the West Indians eventually start mocking this Englishman. Hey, white boy, how your brothers them does send we go sleep so? Yeah, you see that
Yes.
mockery, that sarcasm,
Mockery. Yeah.
almost turning that sense of pride on its head
Yes.
that the white man would have come in with. And so even though we can say the West Indian is mocking, it's almost like a deserved kind of mockery.
Mockery.
Like the tone, the tone is probably like a mocking tone, but
Mm-hmm.
mood wise,
Mm-hmm.
I feel satisfaction. I feel that mood of serve you right. Because
Yes.
you're looking at it as, he came in strutting, came in with this high heart. So he's setting up himself to
Hmm.
Yeah.
kind of in a villainous role, coming in, being the big bad guy, looking down on everybody else, and then we see it being served in his face. So
Mm-hmm.
we feel that sense of yes,
Justification.
Yeah.
that's justification, stuff like that. Kayla Hosel, oh, this is literally my sister here. Not in any poetic sense. She's on stream. Welcome, Kayla. Good to see you. I see a lot of self-awareness coming out
Awareness.
from the writer in different ways as the poem goes on.
Yeah.
Self-awareness. Could you give us a little bit of an explanation, Kayla? In what
Self
ways the writer is in what ways the writer showing to be self-aware? The persona here, and we have to be skipping around the word speaker because the West Indian isn't necessarily the one speaking, at least in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Well, at all throughout the poem, the
That's
West
true.
Indian isn't the one whose
words
perspective we're
in
seeing it
terms of
from.
tone at the beginning.
Kayla says smugness, smug,
Perhaps.
Yeah.
perhaps in the tone at the beginning. Yeah, very smug, walking in with the rosette. We know that rosette is that little corsage thing that we wear. We get this to show our position, to show that we are
Mm-hmm.
somebody important. But for the white man, that is his skin. His
Yeah.
skin is what displays his self-importance. And so we see this smugness turn to embarrassment at the end
Yeah.
when the cricket shows who is boss in terms of sports. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else from the chats? If
No,
not, we're jumping
I'm
along.
not seeing anybody else from the chat.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Oh, right.
All right. Well, guess what? Um, for those watching on the replay or for those who will come in late, you can always rewatch and add your own comments. But we're
Mm-hmm.
jumping along because we're not here to stay.
No
Bam.
problem.
So, oh yeah, before we jump along, these are the notes I have for test match.
Right.
I have a tone of arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
So, following the voice of the Englishman. So, looking at tone, we have to look at perspective.
Yeah.
Who is giving us this tone? So, following the voice of the Englishman, the poem starts with a tone of arrogance. I think we all agreed on arrogance,
Yes.
but quickly takes on a tone of embarrassment and
Mm-hmm.
discomfort
Mm-hmm.
as the West Indian spectators jeer him for how badly the English team plays. Now, from the side of the West Indian speaker, we see a tone of frustration, but also comic sarcasm.
Yeah.
We see the frustration in the beginning, not
Mm-hmm.
just with this Englishman thinking he's better than everybody, but also with the game. What a boring game. Frustration. In terms of mood, one might feel a mood of sympathy for the Englishman, or you might feel satisfaction if you think that he deserves what he's getting. So it depends on your perspective and your own personality, what mood you get. But for me, I feel more satisfaction than sympathy.
And sympathy.
Yeah, if he had not come in so high and mighty, then I
Mm-hmm.
might have felt sorry for him. But
So at the end, though, if you're looking at atmosphere, then, because we're saying how we felt about it, but in terms of the atmosphere that's created, isn't there an atmosphere of like dejection? There's this element that the persona is crestfallen. So, and as a result, you're feeling sympathy, you're feeling satisfaction as the reader. But what about the atmosphere that is created that would cause you to feel that way?
yeah, you hit the nail on the head. The dejection and that kind of just embarrassment. He wants to sink into the earth
Yeah.
after seeing how things have played out. But
Sulking
for
So
me, that
he comes in as a peacock and leaves with his tail between his
in
legs like
his
a
head.
dog. Okay.
pretty much. So while he's feeling dejection, I'm not feeling that dejection because
I'm not feeling
in
it.
my mind, I'm just thinking, serve your right.
You'll need to
You know,
empathize.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How dare you enter the West Indies thinking you're a boss at cricket? No. And ironically, it's the
And
Englishmen who invented
that's where
cricket.
the pride issues that I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On the sake of those from the West Indies. They're really
Mhm.
proud. Mhm.
So we see pride from both sides. We
Mm-hmm.
see the speaker's pride, proudly wearing the rosette of my skin. But then we see the West Indians pride when they're
Yes.
basically saying, yes, you might be white, you might be richer than us, you might have all of this influence and power, but when it comes to the cricket ground,
There you
you
go.
better
Exactly.
know yourself. They're basically almost taking out all of their racial tension on this white man now because of using the cricket almost as a means to
To
square up.
correct, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
correct the
Mhm.
injustice of the society.
Yes.
Yeah. And in my analysis video, this was done long ago, but I remember one of the themes I looked at was sports as an equalizer, an equalizing
Mhm.
factor. We might come from different backgrounds, we might come from different social strata and whatnot, but when we are on the cricket pitch, a man is a man. That's it. You better
Mhm.
show me what you're worth with the bat and the ball. That's all you have. So your white skin won't protect you here.
That's true.
And the West Indians proved that. Yeah. All right. Let's see if we can jump on to poem number 2. South. It's a long poem, but it's a poem that is worth the read, in my opinion. All right. So, what tone are we sensing here? What are we feeling?
Let me just pull up.
Okay, okay, Shelley, I appreciate your honesty.
I really don't understand this word.
This poem is pretty reflective, I would say. The tone is
Yeah,
reflective, yeah.
yeah. So,
And
Keshalia, if you're not,
throughout,
yes,
yeah.
G,
Hmm.
I'm saying, Keshalia, if you're not understanding if you think you're not getting the deeper meaning, focus first on just what you think is literally going
It's
on.
being said.
Hmm.
We see what appears to be someone talking about their journeys abroad and reflecting on it might be their literal return home, or it might also be just them reflecting on their home.
Yeah.
We're not quite sure. We teachers disagree on that aspect as well. So what are we seeing? We see reflective in terms of
Yeah.
tone.
Yeah.
From beginning to end, the speaker is reflecting.
Yeah. But
Reflecting.
there are some changes in tone though as we move towards the end though. There are
Mhm.
some changes that again, there's some, as I call it, tone changes. Remember,
Mhm.
we have mood
Yes,
changes.
mood changes and
Yeah.
tone
Yeah.
changes.
Yes.
Tone
Yes.
swings.
Yes. Swing.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that one. Tone
Yeah.
Indeed.
swings.
Mood swings. Yeah.
The tone swings.
Yeah.
There we capture the island's bright beaches, blue mist from the ocean.
There's
So
pride
here,
in the,
yeah,
there's
we
a
can
sense of
feel the
pride.
pride.
A sense
Yes.
of pride. Pride, you
Pride.
said?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yes.
pride in the homeland.
Yes.
Pride in my home. Look at
Homeland. Yeah.
we're not looking at devices, but the devices really work to add to that rich tone of pride here. The
Hmm.
alliteration, the bright beaches, blue mist. Can hear that power. The
Yes.
assonance, heaved and breathed. We can
Yeah.
see just how relieved and how
Yes,
relaxed the
yes,
speaker is
pauses and
reflecting on
calm.
his homeland.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So we see that
So
pride, that
when we
reflective
say
pride.
it's reflective and pride and anything else?
It's
Anybody said anything
reflective.
else? I don't really understand. Still the last thing.
There's at the end though, when
Mhm.
you as he look when he looks at his when he relives his past, that changes a bit, and you
Mm.
see a sense of defiance.
Oh.
Yeah, when he begins to relive his past.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Are we seeing regret? This
Hmm.
man would have, in my interpretation, he would have gone abroad,
yeah.
Mhm.
lived perhaps decades of his life,
Mhm.
and now at the brink of returning home, he's feeling such relief. Finally made it back,
Yes.
out of the foreign territory.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if he regrets spending so much time away from home. It's
Could be.
unclear. Could be.
I am not, because I'm not
Where
sure.
where are you getting the regret?
I'm not sure if
Um,
I'm getting it. I'm just
it's
asking.
just okay, just overall, okay.
Yeah. Look at how he describes his experience abroad. Look at the middle stanzas here. We who are born of
Yeah,
the
go
ocean can never seek solace in rivers. That's more of the defiance that G
Yeah.
spoke to, as well
Hmm.
as patriotic pride.
Yeah.
You know, we Caribbean people, we can never really fit in or feel at home here, but also we can never be satisfied here. We are used to, in a sense, better. We're used to the
Okay.
freedom of home, the beauty of home, the nature of home. So we can't come here and find peace. We can never seek solace in rivers because we are from the ocean. And we have that contrast of ocean versus river, kind of metaphorically reflecting south versus north. You know, the ocean, it's salty, it's vast, it's alive, as opposed to the river. It's more contained, it's more related to man-made stuff like bridges and dams. So the river is more that contained, controlled life that he would have had to endure. You know, so we who are born by the ocean, we islanders, we can never really fit in and be happy abroad. Even though the pay might be a little better, even though in some sense the lifestyle
Okay.
might be better, but we can't find solace there. And then look at what is the tone I'm looking for here in this third stanza. It's a complex stanza. This one,
We
their
resent.
flowing runs on
Mm-hmm.
resentment.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
resent.
We resent
yeah,
them.
yeah. Their flowing runs on like our longing, reproves us our lack of endeavor and purpose. So this line is very much open to interpretation, but I'm seeing where he's abroad working hard, trying, and it's like people are not even recognizing his worth, his
So I could
effort.
understand why you would see the regret. I
Yeah.
could understand why you would see that
Mm,
regret. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, but resentment, I think, might be a more accurate word.
Yes.
Resenting, you know, this atmosphere, these people, how he's treated. There's a lot that happens under the surface of this poem. It's not said outright, but I guess we have to use all of these imageries to figure out
Pieced
what
together,
the
yeah.
persona is
What is up?
feeling.
So for me, the mood though is there's a sense of nostalgia. So because if
Yeah.
you're reflecting, there's this
Hmm.
nostalgic mood. There's this longing. Uh, Probably the same kind of longing because when we get the Dream Black Boy, you're gonna get that longing as well.
Yeah.
So that longing, there's also a sense of longing in this poem. Yeah,
Hmm.
I guess
Longing.
the regret is there, so
Yeah.
there's a sense of longing.
And the longing is tied to the nostalgia. You know, he's
Yeah.
longing for home,
Yeah.
longing for that time when he could be by the sea.
Hmm.
And what do we see at the end here? When we get back to the bright waves. So we started with the bright beaches. By stanza 5, we have bright waves. We have the
There's
blue
this excitement
seashells.
again.
Excitement again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bright waves splash up from the rocks to refresh us. Blue
Hmm.
seashells shifting their weight, so you're, so there's this excitement. You're upbeat again, you're cheerful, you know, because you're talking about your home, your birthplace
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
You see that sense of satisfaction.
Yeah. Hmm.
No, you're back to where you're content, you're delighted.
Feeling rejuvenated.
Rejuvenation, that's a nice word too. Yeah. So it's a poem that takes us basically full circle. We start with this pride and this kind of bliss, and then we go into the journey away from that, living
Hmm.
And then we
abroad,
come back.
and we come right back home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. We have not seen anything in the chat. I'd like to imagine the listeners are just so tuned in, their fingers have become paralyzed.
Or maybe
But
I
they
guess
really
because it's a
find it a
difficult
difficult
poem.
poem.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yes,
So,
it's a
so
difficult
Adam, you
poem.
may want to refer them to your analysis.
Yes.
you might find it useful.
Yes.
Just my thoughts anyway, but I try to break down each stanza
Hmm.
objectively. And yeah, basically I see that sense of, home, abroad, back home,
Mm-hmm.
and all of the tones that come with that. For those of us who would have left our home countries for an extended period of time, we might be able to relate to just never really finding that home away from home, you know? Even when you live in a particular place for a long time, it's still in the back of your mind. You're always just wanting to go back home. There might be elements of home that you don't miss, but there will be elements of home that you always just you can't find anywhere else. And we see the speaker just missing that. We can't even go deeply into the the middle stanzas are quite dense because there's so many metaphors and so much imagery in the middle stanzas that it might be difficult to read through. But watch my analysis, and there are other analyses too,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll get a better picture.
Hopefully
All
that
right, so
will help.
my few notes here. Uh, I
Pride,
have pride and nostalgia for
Mm-hmm.
tone,
reflection, and pride.
and reflection, pride for mood,
Mm-hmm.
just in general. We can look
Yeah.
into the regret and resentment, but I think these are the more general ones
Mm-hmm.
in this poem. The nostalgia is quite strong. I remember in a session I had with some teachers,
Mm-hmm.
we argued for about an hour about whether or not the speaker actually did return home. So that's
Oh,
another point of contention. Is the speaker just reminiscing on
or
home,
did
or
they
did
come
he
back?
actually return? It's not explicitly stated, but that makes
Like
poetry interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I was not going to say that. Like a
One
good poem,
analysis,
it
one I
leaves
think
a
one
lot for
analysis
discussion.
said that is happening all in the mind. One analysis said that. Yeah.
Mm, man. You were saying triple A?
Oh, I said like no, like a good poem, it leaves room for active discussion.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we can take these tones and moods from South. Still looking
Yeah.
for more activity in the chat, but in the meantime, we're at the old Higue, or we might say old Higue. I say Higue. Tomato in the end.
Uh-oh.
We're at old Higue. How do we feel? What do we sense? We have the tone swings again in this poem. Kishale, why do you love this poem? That's concerning. I'm concerned. You think I like all this
Let's
stupidness?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds Guyanese.
Hmm.
This poem makes me feel proud to be West Indian. Web Van, that name, interesting. This might be some kind of setup. Web Van sounds like it could be my
Cousin.
actual mother joining the live. Very interesting. Familial insights. So this poem makes you feel proud to be West Indian. I wonder when I think of a hike, I wonder, proud. Kashali, I think the speaker just accepts the role they gave him to play, and people are upset with her. Hmm? So how do you feel about that? We're looking at tone and mood.
mm,
Tone of resignation, maybe.
Resignation.
for the
Mm-hmm.
tone, resignation.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, resignation.
On the part of the hike,
A little.
you think the hike is feeling resigned?
Pardon me.
The hike is feeling resigned.
Yeah, a bit resigned because you're accepting
Hmm.
your role as the. I think Miss Williams would have said, yeah.
Hmm.
They. She sounds a little. They're just a little argumentative here, but
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah, argumentative
Hmm.
from beginning to end. You see all of this. We see acceptance as well.
Acceptance, yeah. But then you
Hmm.
have the
So
Very
acceptance and
close to
practice.
resignation.
yeah.
So the hike accepts who and what she is and the role she's made to play. Kishalia said these people give the hike this role.
Accept the role they get to
Are we
play.
being too soft on the hike? Are we being too kind to the hike? Is the hike given this role, or did she decide to eat babies? What's going on? Oh, Webvan's feeling of pride is from South. Okay. No, no, I get it. No, I get it. No, I get it. I think I like all this stupidness. Very argumentative. Gallivanting all night without skin. Burning myself out like Cain fire to frighten the foolish. Very sarcastic too.
Yeah.
And for what?
Hmm.
A few drops of baby blood. Also dissatisfaction. I'm doing all of this just for some drops of baby blood. There is no
That's how I
sense
would have seen
of
dissatisfaction.
satisfaction there.
Mhm.
You think I wouldn't rather take my blood seasoned in fat black pudding like everyone else? Almost an envious, jealous, covetous tone. Like, you are
Mhm.
the one who have it easy. I am doing all of this and I'm not even getting a belly full out of it. Yeah. And
Sounds as
don't
though
even,
she sounds like she's on the defensive too.
yeah, very
Yeah.
defensive tone.
Yeah.
And she has to be defensive because she's
Yeah.
being attacked.
Yeah.
You know, people are painting her out to be the villain. So she's saying,
Mhm.
I'm not the villain if you look at it properly. Don't even talk about the pain of salt and having to bend these old bones down to count 1,000 grains of rice.
Oh God.
Frustration, right?
Mhm.
I have to do all of these things and put up with all this foolishness. She's fed up. She's had enough of this madness. And then you have the right to make it look as if I am the one giving
Something is
trouble,
wrong with him, yeah.
or I am the one, being a villain. I'm the victim here. Don't you see? Indignation, that's a nice word.
Mhm.
Bitterness, bitter about the role she's being made to
Yeah.
play. And yes, very defensive.
Yeah.
Kishalia says
Mhm.
sarcastic, sarcastic tone. Yeah.
What about the mood? What
Mood.
mood is created by this poem?
Hmm.
If you feel sorry for her, as she
I do.
wants you to be,
Yeah, I feel a little bit of sympathy for the
yes,
hag. Not
it
too much
depends
though.
on
I
your
don't
perspective.
feel I don't feel sympathy for her.
What do you feel for
Mm.
her, G?
Uh, I think the mood, the atmosphere that's created is there is this remorseful feeling, but as a reader, I do not feel that sympathetic, even though I think she's longing for it. But on the other hand, you may want to feel sympathy for her because that's the role that's she has been dealt that's the role she has been given, and it's almost like she has no choice but to do it. She's an old hag, isn't she? so
Mm-hmm.
so
Could we say that we feel a
yeah.
sense of empathy for her? I mean, we might not
let's
feel
let's say
sorry for
let's
her,
say more let's say more the on the let's call it sympathy more than empathy,
sympathy,
because
okay, all right.
yeah, a little
Mm.
pity for her, yes.
Pity.
We're,
I
Pity,
like
that's a good one.
I
yes,
like pity.
Yeah.
Yes.
yes.
I can't quite be empathetic because
No,
while I'm sorry for her, I can't relate to this any at all. I can't
no,
really relate to this
I can't
situation
I
that
can't
she's
walk in her
in.
shoes.
At
Yeah.
all.
I can't be empathetic.
So I'm not very much, unless we want to extend the situation to, other aspects of life,
Things in
then
life.
maybe.
Mhm.
For example, we might be forced to play a certain role. Might not be hikes, but as a parent, for example, you might be forced to lay down the law, be strict, and then you're seen as the monster when you are just doing what you have to do. You're just fulfilling your role. and they get all of this backlash from the teenager. Who knows? Can can spin it in many different ways. Do we also see helplessness from the
As a
Higue
mood or a tone?
as a tone?
A tone.
The Higue, she
Helplessness.
can't
It's
help loving
Oh,
the
from that
scent of
perspective,
babies. She's trapped in her own nature.
being
mhm.
okay, helplessness.
She's just on autopilot. She says here, if
Isn't
only
is
babies
isn't
didn't
that
smell so nice. It's an addiction
Interesting.
almost.
so? Isn't that the resignation that we were talking about
Yeah,
then?
I
And
but
wouldn't
suppose,
that
yeah.
add to the? So wouldn't that be connected to the mood as well? Do you really have a tone of helplessness, or
I
is
I
find
that?
the
think in the
helplessness
middle,
a bit strong.
Mhm.
strong. Mm,
Yeah, but I understand what you're trying to say.
mm,
She
Yeah,
can't stop herself.
yeah.
I would more go on the side of the resignation, but
okay.
resignation, there's also that feeling of just giving up. You have to accept it as it is. Yeah,
Hmm.
I will more, I'd lean towards resignation before
Mhm.
Hmm.
saying she's helpless.
Hmm. All right. Do we see self-importance at the end from the
Hmm.
Higue? Then again, if I didn't come and fly to that fresh pulse in the middle of the night, how would you, mother, name your ancient dread? And who to blame for the murder inside your head? Believe me, as long as it have women giving birth, a poor old hag like me can never be dead. She
Hmm.
sounds as if she is saying, look, say what you want about me, but
But be
I am
thankful.
irreplaceable. I am playing a role that you should be grateful
Mhm.
for. Aren't we seeing that sense?
Yes.
Where, call me wicked, call me murderer, but in the end, I'm doing my job and I'm doing it well, and you need me more than I need you. Yeah. And the last stanza is quite a complex stanza because that is where we start to question if the Haig is really responsible for
Mhm.
these deaths or if she's just being blamed. Because the
That's
Haig says here, who would you have to blame for the murder inside their head? So could it be that it's the mothers who might be responsible, but they need someone to blame, and so the Haig is the scapegoat?
yeah.
It's another
And for
possibility.
that we pity her.
We pity her. Yeah. So we get to the pity.
Yes.
Keshalia has me concerned here. I think it's for now she eats the babies. My goodness. Yeah.
She
The Haig
laughs.
the Haig is definitely a unique West Indian character. We have vampires and shapeshifters, but there's no, we have invented the hike here in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
It's a unique monster.
That creates no fear.
No fear.
And the poem does not create a fearful mood at all for
Ah,
somebody who, you know,
yeah. It's probably more pity than fearing the hike.
hmm
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Are we good here? I think we've touched on
hmm
enough words for hike. Oh my gosh, I had so much here. Boy,
Wow.
I can't read all of this.
horror.
I, I'll skip the text here and just look at the list. For tone, I have frustration, helpless. Well, you
Mhm.
have disputed the helplessness, so maybe not so much.
We don't. It's
Sarcasm,
okay. We
Yeah,
didn't leave it. It's just that we said it was closer to the
yeah,
resignation. So.
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
and the pride and self-importance at the end. For mood, there's sympathy, but depending on
Disgust.
your perspective, you might
Mhm.
feel a sense of disgust and horror. It just depends on whether you're siding with the mothers, the
Mhm.
community, the status quo, or with the hike. If you are one of those people who believe that, yeah, the hike is really this monster, you might feel the disgust when the hype talks about how she likes the smell of blood and all of this, like, oh, repulsive, isn't it? So you might feel that apprehension. Or if you can somehow identify with the position of the hike, you might feel a sense of empathy.
Yeah.
But I can't feel empathy. I feel more sympathy for the hike.
Yeah.
And if anything, I feel disgust for the mothers who blame the Higue for you know who put all of this blame on the Higue,
Oh, hi.
using her as a scapegoat. Yeah, yeah. It could be a polarizing point. Some of us might side with the Higue, some might side against her. Yeah. All right. What about Dreaming Black Boy?
Black boy. Okay.
Okay, we have one last comment on the Higue.
Yeah.
Kayla says, I lean towards sympathy or pity and compared to someone struggling with a difficult addiction. Hard
Okay.
to relate to it if you have not experienced it yourself. Yeah. So yeah, I can feel that pity, you can't help it. You're just doing what you're compelled to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. What about dreaming? Another of the infamous race poems on the syllabus.
Um,
You said G said longing some time ago
yeah.
while mentioning this poem. What is this person longing for?
So,
Helplessness. All right.
so would that
This
be
must be good.
that longing? Would that be both mood and tone,
Could
or
be, yeah. I reading this poem, I'm longing for a world where this dreaming black boy can just be and just achieve. So I am feeling that longing as well because even though the poem might be depicting a few, a few decades ago, it's not necessarily far fetched now. It's still relatable. Maybe less so than before, but it's still relatable. So I think it comes through in the mood as well, tone and
Mhm.
mood.
In terms of the tone, there's also some sadness, some
Hopelessness.
anger. I'm seeing
Yeah,
helplessness. Yeah, yeah.
and Keshalia is talking about that sadness and anger. I guess the poor boy just wants a better life for himself.
Yeah,
However, he has to live with the one he's born into. Just like the Haig
frustration.
is trapped in her being, in her identity. This boy is trapped in his skin and just has
Hmm.
to bear the the penalty of being black, essentially. Yeah.
Just like the old hag is an old hag
Yeah.
trapped in, But I'm saying that. So you get this, you know, this feeling of despair, and as one person said, helplessness.
Yeah.
You can feel the pain of this boy as well. So
And we see the longing and the helplessness in the repetition here, even though we're not focusing on devices.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
wish, I
I
wish.
wish. I wish. I wish.
When you're
Yeah.
wishing, it just means you have no power over reality. All you can do is wish. All you can do is wish because it's like a
So,
fantasy world you're thinking about. A world where I am made equal. It's like a fantasy to this boy. It's so far from his real
Hmm.
life. And
so
we
there's
we
a
see the helplessness because there's no
Hmm.
you can't be your brilliance won't get you out of this situation. He's a bright boy, we see, because he has to hold himself back when the answer comes. So it's not as if he doesn't have ideas. It's just that his ideas, his ambitions, he's very ambitious, right?
Yeah.
I wish I
So
could be
there's a sense
educated.
there's optimism there then, because he's a dreamer, and that's good.
I would say
but
stifled optimism.
where is the dreaming getting him, G?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where
it's
is it
okay to
getting
dream.
him?
So that if you dream of a better life, there
Yes.
there is still some element of optimism there.
Well,
So
Mm,
it
for
may not
mood,
happen.
I don't feel it at all.
No, I'm talking about the tone
Tone,
there, but the
tone, yes.
mood is there's
Yes.
this sadness, there's this because he's
Yeah.
not able to fulfill those dreams. Um, so to
Okay.
me, it
mm,
All
would
right.
create that atmosphere then of hopelessness.
mm.
It would
Despair.
create that atmosphere of despair, this
Hmm.
sadness, this
Deep
because
suffering. Yes.
yes, the suffering, yes,
Mm-hmm.
is there. That's the atmosphere that's created. Yeah,
Yeah,
but there's nothing wrong with dreaming.
That's
yeah.
true.
Yeah,
So yeah, with the
having a
wishing
looking at
for
the bright
Tone.
side of life, but you know,
Mm. I still wouldn't say there's optimism. I mean, he's dreaming, he's
yeah,
ambitious, but it's more of a pining, a
yeah,
wistful
that
kind of
longing, yeah,
a
wistful,
longing, aspiration.
yeah,
It's more of a desire than a
right,
hope.
yeah,
Because it's like for him, he can't even hope to
mm-hmm,
achieve these things because it's so out of reach. But he would just wish it could happen,
mm-hmm,
you know? Yeah. And we see the resignation. Um, well, I see resignation. Let me not speak for you guys. I see resignation when you look at the last couple stanzas when
yeah,
he's basically saying, I am here worrying about school when like school isn't even the point of this thing. People are literally being, what's happening here? Literally being lynched. So what it means is it's not as if when I grow up things will be better because even the big
mm-hmm,
men are just as afraid as I am.
mm-hmm,
He says here, I wish only boys were scared. I wish that I could grow out of this fear, but it's not something I can grow out of. I'm growing into it because my father, my uncle, all of these men who I will become, it's not as if
that's
they're having
right.
it any better.
Mhm.
So that to me, it's like he's so despondent. He's seeing his future in front of him, and it's not
It's
pretty.
not bright,
It's not bright. He's a bright boy
but
with a dim
but
future.
he's dreaming for a bright one though.
He's dreaming for it, but I don't
Yeah.
think he thinks it's coming.
Yes. Okay. So he's not that optimistic then.
I don't think he has that
So
sense of I can make it.
yeah. So
He wants to make it.
he has accepted his fate then. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with a heavy
I
heart, I
would
think he has.
say that at least he has a little hope. So I would
Yeah.
not throw out optimism because
Mm.
even in his state where he is saying, I wish this and I
Mhm.
wish that,
Yeah.
and he knows that this is his future most likely, but
Mhm.
give him at least a 5% chance that he still hopes. I would
Mhm.
not say optimism, G, but
Mm.
there's still this bit of hope. It's
A
almost like
tinge,
a creeping hope
a
that
tinge.
something
Mm.
happen, yes, will
Yeah.
come up. You
A tinge.
understand?
Mm.
That
Yeah.
somebody would prove him wrong, that something will
Mhm.
happen. But as Adam said, it seems like they're
Yeah.
destined, he's destined to
Mhm.
go a certain way.
Mhm.
Mm. And when we look at this as a race poem, in the context of race, we're not seeing the usual tone of. I mean, there is some resentment, but
Mhm.
the anger is more subdued. It's more focused on
Yeah.
my reality than I want to get back at you. We're not seeing that.
Right.
Look at the end. It says, I wish nobody would want to earn the terrible burden I can
Mhm.
suffer. He doesn't even wish this upon the same people who are
Right.
causing it to happen to him.
Must be Christian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
No
no.
revenge at all. Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
not even, there's no vengefulness in his tone.
There you go. Mhm.
There's only that feeling of, man, if only this world could change.
Yeah.
But he's not trying to get back at anyone. He just wants his chance. He just wants his chance you know, to realize his potentials.
Mhm. A tinge of hope. A tinge.
And
Yeah.
Kayla says it's less combative than Test Match
Mhm.
Sabina Park, even though the theme is
Yeah.
similar. Yeah, much less combative. It's more internal. It's more inward. He is more reflecting on his experience than trying to, combat someone else. Yeah, there's
No
not
fighting.
no fighting back.
Mhm.
I mean, how can you fight against these plotters in pajamas?
All right then.
You can't fight these guys. Yeah. All right. Are we satisfied with these descriptions of tone and mood? So dreaming black
Yeah.
boy.
Oh boy. Oh, mood. So mood is helplessness, despair. Does anybody feel sorry for him? Is there any sense of pity for this black boy?
Sure.
Empathy, maybe.
Oh,
Empathy,
Sure.
because you can imagine
Empathy.
yourself in that
Yes.
position.
Empathy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we see Kela supporting the glimmer of hope as he
Yes.
envisions a different
Yeah, it's
world.
just a glimmer.
Hmm.
Whew,
Yeah.
like that expression, just a glimmer of
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah. Triple A, you said tinge. Yeah.
Tinge, yes.
Things. Yeah.
Tinge. Yeah. All right. Let's jump across. I have here despair, hopelessness, yearning, resignation.
Hmm.
So pretty much in line with what we've been
Yeah.
saying. For
Yeah.
mood, sympathy, despair. I would add empathy.
Hmm.
And we could feel frustration and anger for
Yeah.
this
The
situation, you
anger.
know.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, definitely. Not an atmosphere thing, but definitely you can feel the anger since
Yeah, Kayla says I'll be interested to know how non-black people would feel about the mood. Because of course mood depends
yes,
on the reader, depends on
yes,
your
yes.
context.
But
So
what could their response be?
They may be sympathetic to us by now. They may be a bit
Okay,
sympathetic. Yeah. Hmm.
hmm, interesting.
Well, if they're reading it in this era,
yeah, they could be sympathetic but not necessarily empathetic, perhaps.
that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We're not spending too much time on each poem. We're doing 12 poems in just over an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, what a creepy image.
Image.
Not my favorite poem by a long shot.
God,
This is one of the poems that this poem gets left behind most times. It is the constant image of your face. Oof. We have silence. That shows just how much we
yes.
love this poem. Yeah.
Oh,
Oof.
no.
What are we feeling here? What
Mm.
attitude can we sense?
Patriotism.
Yeah, that jumps out at me too.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But isn't that a theme? Can you have a tone of patriotism?
Okay, that's a
A
good
patriotic
question.
tone would be fine.
Yeah, you're feeling
Okay.
patriotic. Yeah.
Okay. No
Yeah.
problem.
Reflective, Keshalia says.
Reflective. Yeah.
This is an easy word that we can
Sad.
tack on to many points.
Wistful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you see any remorse there? A tone of remorse.
Yeah.
Remorse.
Even though the speaker says, I confess without remorse or shame, my still fresh treason, but he sounds pretty remorseful.
Mm-hmm.
There's that guilty
Mm-hmm.
tone,
Yeah.
guilty, apologetic, remorseful,
Mm-hmm.
however we want to spin it. But what's really happening in this poem, though?
Apologetic.
What's happening in this poem? Who? What's going on here? Because this is a poem where no one seems to agree on what is happening, on who the characters are.
Mm-hmm.
Are we
Is it,
seeing a
is,
man
is it an
talking about?
internal conflict that he's having?
So there's some conflict there.
Yeah, an
There's a
internal
battle
conflict.
going on there. Yeah.
Mhm.
What is this battle about? Is it a battle between two countries, or between a country and a woman, or between two women?
Hmm.
It is this constant image of your face. Whose face, I wonder? Is he pleading, apologetic?
I guess you just have to look at it on those two levels, as it
Mhm.
being a lover or it being his country.
Yeah.
Mm.
Michelle says a man caught between two countries.
Mm-hmm.
Caught between two countries.
Mm-hmm.
Also in what's that Guyanese poem? Dark time.
Is it dark
Dark
time, your love?
times is a
Dark
dark
time,
time,
your
my
love?
love.
You see the country referred to as if it were a lover.
Yeah.
So it could be a similar device employed here, personification, where this face is the face of a country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
We
apologetic is a tone as well here.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Wins says the persona may have gotten asylum in another country.
Yeah.
And this is one of those poems. It's difficult to read this poem without looking at the context of the point.
Historical background, yeah.
Because without that context, we're really at a loss here. He's feeling patriotism, like this is the dark time. I think those poems are comparable. So who is he apologetic towards? Which one of the countries?
The one that he came from, his original home, isn't it?
So the first stanza country or
Okay,
the
that's
second
it.
stanza country? It's tricky. You see regret? Michelle, could you explain the regret?
Treason to my country.
Yeah, the context is critical. Antoinette sends her regards. She says we're doing very well, so she'll jump in next time. Fair enough.
Oh,
Was Dennis Brutus not from South Africa? Yeah, you know this poem, it rubs me the wrong way. In terms of a selection on a selection level, because CSEC, I think, wouldn't want us to bring outside evidence into a poetry essay, in that we have to stick within the text when we're analyzing, when we're defending our answer. We can't go into the history books and talk about what happened in South Africa, because we have to justify everything from the text. Yet, without the context,
This is a
we cannot
difficult
even
poem
read the poem.
to
We can't
understand.
even read this poem. So it leaves us in a tricky spot, very precarious position, where we have to know the context to understand the poem, but we have to stick to the poem
yeah.
when analyzing it. It's tricky. Win
I guess
says,
this is why it's not so popular.
could be. The regret is that he has fallen in love with his host country. Yeah, I see that. The country blackmailed him with her beauty.
Oh, words.
He was seduced by the, I guess, easy lifestyle and the modernity, the safety. He says, preferred me with such dear protectiveness. So he found comfort and safety in this new country. And he feels like he's cheating on his wife, being involved with this other country. So we see the regret and the tone of apology we mentioned earlier coming in. Keshalia, I have that same question.
Yeah.
This is a poem about two countries, or a country and a woman.
You can look at it from both perspectives. You know, you can look at it from both perspectives. Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
He feels he has betrayed his mother country. I think he feels that way, yeah. But he doesn't take all of the blame for himself. He also shifts some of the blame to the country that lured him in. When we look at the language here, blackmail, it's as if I'm not entirely at fault. You know, I was blackmailed. What choice did I have in the end? It's almost like I make an analogy in my analysis video. A husband cheating on his wife and then blaming the side chick. No, but she's too pretty. What else could I have done? It's not really my fault.
That there will create a mood.
Yeah, and we're supposed to sympathize, right? We're supposed to sympathize, right?
I don't know how sympathetic I can necessarily be. regretful of the way he betrayed his country by giving information. Espionage? Where are we seeing that? Look at the last couple of lines. Yes, Trina, you're late.
And hope that
Love of
she, my other
Yeah.
dearest love, will pardon freely, not attaching blame, being your mistress or your match in tenderness.
what's happening in these lines, man? So I hope that who is the she here?
You really have to hold on to your horses when you're reading this poem.
Yeah.
The
Pretty
she here
ambiguous. It's an ambiguous point.
is the first she not his original? Let us say we're looking at homes where he reside, original country,
Yeah, that's what I think.
right? And hope that she, my
The
other
other country.
dearest, will pardon freely, not attaching blame,
But
being
who is the
your
other dearest?
yes,
Isn't that another the other
yes.
country?
She's referring to his home country.
His country, his
His
country,
home country is the other
his
dearest.
homeland. Yeah, like he's calling the
My other dearest love.
yeah.
It could be he's saying, I know, and hope that she, my other dearest love, right, the home country,
Right.
will pardon freely, not
Mm-hmm.
attaching blame, being your mistress. Now that's where it gets a little confusing. Being your mistress or your match in tenderness.
So how could one
Yeah,
woman be the other woman's mistress?
yeah, yeah,
Whoa.
yeah.
So you want me to tell you my convoluted idea of this point?
Yes, let's
Yes,
hear it.
help us.
Yes, please.
My convoluted idea of this poem. I see here in the first paragraph a man reflecting on how there's a mutual betrayal between him and his home country. So
Mm-hmm.
at no point in this poem, I think the speaker is taking full responsibility for anything. So it says here, it's the constant image of your face. So I'm constantly thinking of you, my home,
Mm-hmm.
framed in my hands as you knelt before my chair. The grave attention of your eyes surveying me amid my world of knives. Amid my world of knives. So we see that being home, the speaker isn't in a pretty situation. He's in a world of knives. This sounds dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
This could be he is constantly under threat. He's in danger, so he
Mm-hmm.
needs to leave. So he's setting up this idea that it's not as if I just left willy-nilly. I had to go. So he's
Mm-hmm.
in this world of knives that stays with me, perennially accuses and convicts me of heart treachery. So even though he's in this situation, he still feels guilty
Mm-hmm.
needing to leave.
Yeah.
You
There's
know,
a feeling of
sometimes,
anguish. I could see this feeling of anguish.
yeah, we could
Yeah.
see anguish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if 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 you look at it, sometimes we have to leave a toxic situation, but even while leaving, we
Yeah.
feel almost as if it's our fault for leaving. I think the speaker
Conflict.
has,
That's where the conflict comes in.
yeah,
That
that internal
Chick-fil-A
conflict.
was talking about that inner conflict. Yeah.
Yeah. It says neither you nor I can plead excuses. For you, can claim no loyalty. My land takes precedence of all my loves. So here he's talking to what? The new country, right? He's talking to the new country here and he's saying, look, we cannot plead excuses for this affair that we're having because you know and I know that my number one is my wife back home. My homeland is my number one. You
Mm-hmm.
knew that. So stop acting as if you want to take me away and get married to me. This is just a fling. I bring it back to the relationship analogy. Yet I beg mitigation, pleading guilty. So he's saying, all right, I have some part to play in all of this. For you, my dear, accomplice of my heart, made without words, such blackmail with your beauty. So yes, I stepped out, but at the same time, you allowed it. You pressured me into stepping out. So yes, I left and I came to America for a better life. But why did you provide me with this nice life? You gave me a passport and a place to stay, so how could I resist? It's almost that helplessness and preferred me such dear protectiveness. So we see the contrast between the world of knives. This is the position he's in the home country. So maybe turmoil, social turmoil could be, uh, in some countries we have wars breaking out every now and then. Not a very safe place. And then he's now in this country that offers him protectiveness, that I confess without remorse or shame, my still fresh treason to my home, to my country.
Mm-hmm.
So he still feels as if he's committing treason by finding safety in a new country.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so this is where it gets tricky now, the last couple of
Yes.
lines, because we're not sure who is who. So I'm going to tell you what I think, which might very well be very wrong. And I hope that so now he's talking to the new country. And he's saying, I hope that my wife back home,
Mm-hmm.
my other dearest love. So he has two dearest loves. I don't know how someone can have two dearest loves, because dearest is superlative. It should be the top. But he has two loves and he can't choose. We see the indecision might also be a kind of tone, indecisiveness.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that she, my other dearest love, will pardon freely. So I hope that when I go back home, she will say, all right, come, my husband. It's okay. I forgive you. So when I go back home, I will
Yeah.
not be met with um this idea that you're a traitor. You left
Mm-hmm.
us. Blah blah blah. He's hoping to be welcomed. And if you want to talk about Dennis Brutus, he wants to, when he goes back to South Africa, to be welcomed home.
Mm-hmm.
More as a patriot than as a traitor. So I wish that my dearest love will pardon me freely, not attaching blame. So I hope that my home country, when I go home, will not blame me for having left. I hope they will realize that I had no choice. That's what I'm seeing. Being your, no, look at the last line, tricky
Mm-hmm.
line. Being your mistress. So I hope, so imagine he's talking to the side chick, he's talking to the new country. He's saying, I hope that when I go home, my wife will take me back.
Mm-hmm.
I have this hope that she's gonna be kind to me because she's your mistress in tenderness. I had to look up the word mistress because I said
Mm-hmm.
there must be another meaning. This cannot be, and the word is deliberately misleading because of the
Yeah.
context of this kind of extramarital looking
Mm-hmm.
relationship thing. But the other meaning for mistress is like the female version of a
Mm-hmm.
master.
Yeah.
Like we have a school mistress. I didn't think of that immediately. So I think he's saying, my home country is your mistress in tenderness, which means
Equal. Equal.
it's right.
Mm-hmm.
My home country is even more tender than you are.
Mm-hmm.
So I am hopeful that I will be received well because she's your mistress. She is your superior when it comes down to tenderness. Being your mistress in tenderness, being your, being, she's even more tender than you are. She's your mistress. And then in brackets, in the parentheses, or your match. So still trying to equalize the countries.
Mm-hmm.
Not put, so in his mind, he was putting the home country on top and then he kind of
Mm-hmm.
balanced it back just to appease the new country. Kind of playing, sitting on the fence. He's on the fence this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying, my wife is even kinder than you, or maybe just as kind, just as kind. Don't get mad. So he doesn't want to upset either country. He wants to be cordial with the new country because it did offer him protectiveness. It did offer him a haven, but he also wants to pay homage to his home country. So that is the kind of conversation that I am seeing here in this poem.
So this world of knives that we spoke about, where does this world of knives exist? Is it with his first love? Because
Yeah,
I
back
get that.
home, he was in a
Yeah.
But this is the
maybe a tough
same
spot.
back home that is offering him tenderness.
No, you mean in the last line here, being your match.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's saying,
Yes.
even though my wife did abuse me, she's tender, because
Okay.
it's like he wants to go back home and feel embraced. That's what I'm getting. So he wants to try to put all this treachery and all of this thing behind him, because he kind of he blames both parties. He was like, yeah, I left, but it's not entirely my fault. You put me in a tough spot. And he does the same thing with the new country. He said, yes, I came to you, but you offered it to me. So he is being very politically correct. If, that's not the right term, but
Mm-hmm.
he's not, he's being very diplomatic in how he's talking to these two countries or these two women in their narrative.
Right.
Not necessarily making a very strong decision in terms of it's your fault or I love you more. He's really playing the fence and trying to have it both ways.
That,
I'm getting that.
that may be it. So, do we feel sorry for him for that? Do we feel a sense of pity for him, mood wise? I'm getting also a sense, I know the poem starts and for me creates a mood of tenderness and care and love. A
Mm,
mood. I get that at the beginning and
mm,
it's rounded off at the end for me. Anybody agrees with me there?
mm.
No? No takers? Okay.
No takers from my side.
No takers in the chat. Nobody. Trina.
You can see the guilt and the conflict.
Mm,
You know, I can see right because you're talking about playing both. So there's a conflict. So he's conflicted,
yeah,
and then there's
he's
this. The
yeah.
mood is there's a sense of guilt in the
Yeah.
atmosphere. Yeah. So I am not sure how tender the poem is.
Just like how we were talking about the mood swings. So initially, I'm
Yeah.
saying there was that feeling of tenderness. Yeah,
Mhm.
I hope this one doesn't come as well,
A 10.
Michelle. Right? Yes. Right? A form of tenderness at the beginning. Okay.
Mm. Yeah, and I definitely feel that conflict and indecisiveness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
It's,
not my favorite
so
poem at all.
it's confusing. Anybody with me on confusing?
I mean, confusion is a mood. Yeah.
It's perplexing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Michelle
Too
says too
much
much conflict.
conflict.
Yes.
All
Mm.
right.
Yeah. All right. I
Okay. Uh,
let can we do one more poem?
yes.
We have to
Yeah.
wrap it up,
We can put this one to rest.
Yeah,
Please.
let's put it to rest. What I have here for tone, guilty, pleading, indecisive.
Hmm.
For mood, I have serious, somber.
Yeah. I'll give
So
you
that
that. Somber.
yeah,
I love.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. All right, see if you can jump to one more. West Indies, USA.
Is
In 6 minutes, I have to start getting dressed for work.
Okay,
okay.
let's do this
So let's
quickly.
do this quickly. Yes.
West Indies, USA. Uh,
For tone, I think there is a level of appreciation. Again, we come to tone swings that
Hmm.
flows into a bit of disdain.
Yes.
I look at the different feelings that the person has at for each stop, and there's also a bit of sarcasm and
Yes.
mockery.
Agreed.
So those are the things that I see for tone coming out of this piece. And there is the mood for me is one of tension and frenzy. I get
Hmm.
that from all this hopping from one thing to the next and one thing. It's almost like it's not constant, so it fluctuates up, down. So that creates that kind of frenzy for me as in
Hmm.
terms of contributing to the atmosphere that is created from this poem. That's my intake there.
I agree that there's sarcasm and
Mhm.
to me there's a kind of a resentful feeling as well at the
Mhm.
beginning. I also see the mood changes from there's one at the beginning, there's one in the middle, there's one at the end, there's this at the end though. There's like there's this imminent danger, and
mm,
there's this tension as you would have alluded to, and this despondency I'm seeing coming out in terms of the mood. because we don't have a lot of time, we just have to. I can't
Yeah.
give you the quotes or I can't back it up now, but
Put it
that's what
for,
we see. We can't.
okay.
The evidence,
Mm.
I'm sure we will see if we were to go through, I'll be able to point you to the evidence, but
Mhm.
we're pressed for time. But I'm agreeing with Triple A with that
Yeah.
sarcasm and that despondency and that, tension that's there, you know. Hmm.
Yeah. I see all of that as well, and some admonition and
Hmm.
almost reprimand at the end.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's it's a long poem, one of the longer poems, and there are definitely lots of swings in the tone and mood.
Lots.
Yeah. I wonder if
Is there any do you see the any mocking? Do you see any
Yes.
at the beginning, you know?
For the tone, in
Yes,
tone,
tone, yeah.
yes, line 17 to
Yeah.
21, we
Yes.
get some
Uh-huh.
mocking taking place in
Yeah.
within those lines.
Yes.
That's
what
where
are
I
those
see some
lines?
mocking. Hold on. I can't see your copy, so I'm again looking for my own just now.
I don't have the line numbers here.
Yes, just now, Western.
When the
I'll read
pilots
that just
speaks.
But the
now. Okay,
pilots land. We're safe in my hands. Drawl crackles as we land. Those,
nice.
yeah, U.S.
Yeah, yeah,
regulations demand
yeah.
all passengers not disembarking at San Juan stay on the plane. I repeat, stay on the plane. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't, you know, Uncle
Mm.
Subtle, Uncle Sam, afraid too many desperate blacks might re-enslave this
Yeah.
island of the free, might
Ooh.
jump the barbed electric fence. So you were there's a mockery going on there, and you may see it permeating the poem at times. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. We made quick work of this.
Yes, next one.
Quick work. Yeah, I have these for tone and mood.
Resentful,
Hmm.
sarcastic,
Hmm.
resentful, and reflective.
Yeah. As a mood,
Resentful.
I feel resentful reading this. Resentful toward because I can identify with the speaker here a little
Hmm.
bit. So I feel that kind of resentment. This great America promised to welcome us with open arms, yet
Hmm.
you're the same one at every chance you want to block us, prevent
Hmm.
us, stop us. You're
Yeah.
you're afraid of us, really? You are afraid of us? Look at history and tell me again. You are the one afraid of us? Are we the ones who, what did we ever do to you? So Kayla says defensiveness. Yeah, I feel that defensive tone coming
Hmm.
from the poem. Yeah, yeah. All right, let's wrap it up with one final one. My parents.
Hmm.
Hmm. Definitely a poem with a tone for longing. Another
Yes.
one with
Yes.
a
Yes.
longing tone. There's also a tone of fear. We can see that in lines 5 and 8. I also see a bit of awe as well coming to the latter part of the poem. But then there's also for me this feeling of suffocation or inhibition that you
Hmm.
experience throughout the poem when it comes to tone. That's what I would see. And for mood, it creates a sense of pity. I really pity the boy. Appreciation, strange enough, sorry, again, this is personal interpretation. As a parent, I could see a
Hmm.
sense of appreciation for the parent who wants to protect their child from these negative influences,
Hmm.
and to a certain extent, a bit of empathy.
Yeah.
That's my sum up of tone and mood there.
That was
Nice.
very well articulated, and
Yeah,
I agree with you. I agree
yeah,
with your analysis of the mood and tone there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. In the chat, Kashalia says longing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Trina says sympathy for mood.
Yes.
Sympathy. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Pretty much. What
Mm-hmm.
do I have here? I have reflective as a general tone, sympathetic reflective as mood.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In terms of tone, yeah, for me, I just got a reflective tone mainly. But the mood is where I might find more variation
Yeah.
in this poem.
There may
Which
be
is
some
more
empathy as well.
reflective.
There may be some empathy.
Yeah, if you can relate, I suppose.
Yeah.
I can't really relate to this speaker, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But it's
some
more
of us,
sympathy. Yeah.
yeah, we might be empathetic depending on tone. Envious, someone says.
Mm-hmm.
Envious.
Envious. Okay, yeah. Because the boy wants,
Mm-hmm.
the speaker wants to be a part of what's happening.
Yeah, I would interpret that as more longing,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
longing to
I
fit
just
in.
Longing.
noted it down next to longing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and envious is another side of it. Yeah, if we can go this quickly, we might be able to wrap things up with everything.
Once upon a time,
If we can spend
Toad.
like 5 minutes, 2 minutes per poem.
Toad.
Yeah. Some
Nostalgic.
nostalgia.
This one
Some nostalgia.
Wow.
is a classic
I
Toad.
love this.
Yes.
I love this. Yeah.
Disappointment, disdain.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sense of betrayal and
Mm.
resignation. Those
Mm-hmm.
are some of what I've had here for tone.
Mm-hmm.
And for mood, reflective and
Mm-hmm.
regretful.
Mm-hmm.
A sense of revulsion as well and anger.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would have for tune, yeah.
Yeah.
Nostalgic, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely nostalgic.
Nostalgic is my number one.
Yeah,
There's also a conversational tone going on as well.
yeah.
You can also feel the anguish, as someone said, regret. And then for my mood, there's that sense of longing again.
Hmm.
There's this disappointment, and there's so you feel this pain uh, as well. So I agree, and I just added those few, um, you know,
Mm.
in terms of the tone and the
Yeah,
mood. Mhm. But I love this
yeah,
poem.
pretty good.
Love it.
Yes, I do.
I adore
Oh,
this poem.
Beautiful poem. It is. What did you have, Adam?
all right. Yeah. What do I have? Let's see. I for tone reflective and critical.
Critical.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
I think the speaker is really criticizing how society
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
rewards duplicity and dishonesty and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And he's criticizing himself as well,
Okay.
because he has also become the same thing, hiding his true feelings, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, he has been manipulated for so long that he now is manipulating people just to
Yeah.
survive in this world. And so he's reflecting on that. Yeah, no, nostalgic. Someone said.
Yeah, I
Yes.
said
Kashala says,
nostalgic.
We saw
yeah.
nostalgia.
So
Yeah.
You didn't see the
definitely,
nostalgic. All this once upon a time, he's showing his
Yes,
yeah. I
manhood.
see
nostalgia.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I see it now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
he's
didn't. I
only,
did.
ooh,
Yeah,
definitely nostalgic, wishing about
yeah.
those sweet moments in the past.
We see desperation. Yeah, desperately
Desperate.
wanting to go back to
Which is
how
that
things
longing
were.
again. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
We're moving with great speed.
The woman.
The
Oh,
lovely
we've come to a
poem.
halt.
The
Love
woman
this.
speaks to the man who has employed
Mm.
her son. I
Awesome.
love this one too.
Yes.
All right, so I'll let you go ahead, G, with tune.
For me, I am seeing there's some mocking in there. There's some resignation, some anger. That's some of the tones I'm seeing there. There's also a mood of solemnity. It's solemn. There's a mood of resignation. It's also very serious. So those are some of the words that I will use to describe the mood and the tone. It's over to you.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would have
Nice.
gone with mood. I
Mm-hmm.
agree with your tones.
Mm-hmm.
To me, there was a mood of despair. I felt a level of despair. There's almost this ominous
Mm-hmm.
hopelessness.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also felt I found that it created a mood of sympathy for the mother, or
Mm-hmm.
for some of those who may want to say empathy for the mother going through this problem and some
Mm-hmm.
anger. It got me, angry personally, on a personal level.
In terms of tone, there was also some expectancy too. Yeah, there was some.
Expectancy.
Yeah, there was
Yeah,
some.
in the beginning especially, right? Or
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
end?
Yes. In the beginning.
Yeah, beginning.
Interesting. Interestingly, I'm talking about expectancy, and she talked about the metallic fade
Oh,
right in her mouth. So
so expectancy on so many levels.
on more than one level, yes.
Yeah. All right.
Acceptance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Acceptance, resignation. Yeah.
Okay.
Ah, this is what I have here.
Acceptance as well.
Tone and mood.
Yeah. So your tone, you talk about anticipation, which is the same thing as you're expecting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. And it's at first she's anticipating, this bright boy to come and
Mm-hmm.
do so many things, and then at the end she's
Yeah.
anticipating the death.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we say, in terms of mood, you might feel so frustrated reading this poem,
Yeah.
knowing that this is actually a common reality.
Yeah.
And so the anger and sympathy, maybe
Mm-hmm.
empathy if you can relate on a deeper level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have more detailed notes here, but we're jumping. We're jumping around.
And this is the
Little boy
last
crying.
one. Little boy
Let,
crying.
yeah, let's make it the
This is the
last one.
last one. Oh.
Yeah, I think. For the tone here, I found that there was a tone of, again, longing. Longing seems to come up, I guess, as a writer, you must be longing for something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Appreciation, a
Mm-hmm.
sense of being conflicted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Serious, that's another word that I would use to describe the tone, and also caring. Yeah. For me, the
Mm-hmm.
mood
All
was
right.
one of sadness, grief,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
injustice, and empathy.
Yeah.
What say you,
All
G?
right.
And I am in agreement with you as well. I could
Mm.
sense the frustration as well. There's some frustration in there. There's acceptance. Um, there's also longing as well
Mm.
that I was able to pick up in there. Yeah.
If
Anything
we
else?
Yeah.
had more time, we could go through the lines
Yes.
and
Yeah,
show,
yeah.
but we don't.
Show evidence. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very important for the writing. Like,
I had
Mm-hmm.
clues.
intention.
Frustration. Mm-hmm.
See the
Yeah,
guilt and regret from the
Guilt,
father's side.
regret. Yes.
yeah.
Frustration, not being able to really communicate his feelings to the
Mm-hmm.
son, not having that understanding. And yeah, I felt pretty tense reading this,
Mm-hmm.
because I am
A
a,
father.
a, a, a new father, a young father, and I can
Mm-hmm.
already understand when the baby just doesn't get it, or when they can't realize that you're doing something for their good, and so they
Yes.
might develop this, this temper, and they're so upset. Like, my goodness, can't you see that I'm saving your life, boy? So, and there's sympathy on, I think, for both,
Mm-hmm.
persona. You can
Yes.
sympathize with the little kid who just doesn't know better, doesn't
Mm-hmm.
understand, and with the father who has to deal with a child who doesn't understand and has to be the villain. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
I think is this. Oh my gosh, we have one more.
Actually, two more landscape painter as
What?
well. So,
All
very
right, 1 minute
quickly,
per point.
yes,
Okay.
a lesson for this Sunday. Reflective, definitely. I
Yeah.
that the tone was also
Mm-hmm.
disturbing. And then there's also that sense of resignation that is
Mm-hmm.
coming for me as a tone. And for
Mm-hmm.
mood,
Mm-hmm.
the mood it creates for me was relaxing, but also some repulsion
Mm-hmm.
and anger, sympathy, and pity. All those were words that I would have chosen to describe the mood that I got from this particular poem.
Mm-hmm. For me, I as you're saying, it's very calm, easygoing, reflective. Then you get some sarcasm coming out there, some irritation, a bit of it. Then there's this resignation, and then for my mood, again, it's similar because there's this calmness. It's also relaxing, and then you get this cruelty coming out at the end, and this resignation again.
Mm.
So I agree with with your points as well. What about you, Adam? It's over to you.
For me, what do I have here? I have, I think we're taking three different approaches. I have calm contemplation bliss in the beginning stanza,
Mm-hmm.
and then we move to shock and horror with the
Mm-hmm.
realization of the butterfly being harmed and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And then I think we descend into hopelessness and disappointment,
Mm-hmm.
looking at the state of things, the state of mind, and
Mm-hmm.
what we have become, stuff like that. Mood, depending on what stanza you're looking at, it could be calm,
Yeah,
could
first
be
one.
horror, could be
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
hopelessness,
second one,
reflection.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
we
think I
definitely
think
jump. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's a process. It
Yeah.
progresses from one mood to the next to the next to the
There,
next.
right. There's some mood changes, mood swings, as we
Yeah,
call it, and some tone swings as well.
yeah,
So difficult to talk
100%.
about all of them
and
at
very
this time.
contrasting, yes,
Yes.
because you go from
Yeah,
calm to horror,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
so
We're
some
not.
of them,
It's not
yes,
It's
similar
a
things. Yeah,
progression. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I hope in some other way or forum we can flesh this out more,
Yeah.
because I don't like
Yes,
rushing poetry, but
yeah.
I think we did this last time.
Yes.
Last one, landscape painter. I think that's what we have to look at, and then we would
And
have
I'm gonna
completed
leave
the
Okay.
y'all.
game.
I'm gonna let y'all deal with that one while I listen very. Let y'all look at that one
I think
and
from
school
Landscape
me.
painter.
line 8, there's this sense of awe that is
Mm-hmm.
created in this poem, a tone of awe and admiration, wonder. The tone I found also was serious.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's it for tone. I found the mood to be light,
Mm-hmm.
serene, harmonious. All this talk about, the pictures that they all gathering together to make of the family of the natural family. Then there was a bit of excitement in line 2, some trepidation
Mm-hmm.
and admiration.
Mm-hmm.
All of those I saw as moods. Fascination, yes, Trina,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you.
Yes.
Admiration, tone, yes,
Yes.
yes, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
All right.
Bemusement, oh, that's a good one. Mm.
I found that too.
Bemusement for tone, Trina?
Yeah.
Yeah, so those would be my contribution.
Yeah.
And
I can see the reflective. I can see the
reflection,
reflection, the reflective mood. Yes. The
intrigue.
admiration. Yes, that's beautiful. Reflection. I say. Yeah.
Intrigue.
That's what I
Is
have.
it the intrigue was balancing those
It's
two
just
when they were
excitement.
balancing?
Mm-hmm.
Adam, is that where you got the intrigue
Balancing.
from? The earlier part
What
of
do
the
you
poem where they where's my copy? Okay, it's a separate. Yeah, straddling precariously.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the intrigue would have come in for you, right?
Well, for me, the intrigue is I'm thinking of the uh the speaker is watching the persona
Yeah,
paint. So
yeah.
I think the speaker is intrigued in the painter's process, in
All
how
right.
he interprets the landscape and brings it to life, or
Mm-hmm.
brings the life to the canvas.
Okay.
So I get in how the process is described with the tireless humming bird and stuff like that. I get the sense that this person is fascinated,
Yeah.
intrigued by the artist's process. So that's where it came in for me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's call it quits suddenly. Let's call it a day.
Okay, all
Oh,
the best, everyone.
Yeah,
Adam,
it was a
you rush
pleasure
off,
being here.
head off to where you've got to head off. And
Okay.
yeah.
nice
We
being
call
here.
this
Bye,
get in
Trina,
5 minutes.
Tishala. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a good evening.
Thank you for
Later.
joining.
Okay. All right.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Take care. Viewers, thanks for coming out. I'll end in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job.
Out.
Watch the replay, take some notes. We're calling it a day.
Yeah.
Bye, Triple A. Bye, Adam.